Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind Evident Terry's Moon, Flight Buster Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties of motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about Saturn going into Capricorn for all my Pisces ascendants. Now, for all my Pisces ascendants, you know what I'm saying, this is the area of life that things is going on for you. You know what I'm saying? This is like, you know, Saturn work as a bulldozer. So whatever house is going into is going to knock that motherfucker down. So you need to understand that. So this is going to be the main theme of what's going on in your life. And once you understand the main theme, I'm going to give you the tools that you have in order for you to build this house a lot faster so you don't experience any big ass storms coming and while you still don't have a motherfucking roof. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, what is Saturn? Saturn is how one sees reality. So whatever sign a person has Saturn in and whatever planets is correlating with it, this is how one going to see reality. It's also how one gains structure in their life based upon a person, place, or thing, or a job. Saturn is also where one places but also receives boundaries and restrictions and limits. So for the most part, as you being a Pisces ascendant, you know, based upon the measures of degrees, you may still have Saturn lingering around that 10th house, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's at the ending stages. So it had already regrouped and restructured and allowed you to gain access to power and control over this house. So for the most part, you're pretty much sweeping up, you know what I'm saying, wiping down windows and get ready to take out the trash and go home if you're not home already when it comes to Saturn. And you being a Pisces ascendant, Saturn is correlating itself to going to the 11th house. So what is the 11th house? The 11th house represents how you conduct yourself in the public arena. And how did you learn how to conduct yourself in the public arena, right? Dealing with the unknown and the unfamiliar. Now, what is the unfamiliar? Unfamiliar people, places, and things. So unfamiliar is correlated from the 3rd and the 7th house. You know, the 3rd house is your close proximities, your surroundings, and your brothers and sisters and your friends and your neighbors. 7th house will be like your relationships and how you developed, how to learn from people and how to relate yourself. You see what I'm saying? To one another. And then, you know, in your relationships. And then, you know, the 11th house is how you do that on a grand scale. How you conduct yourself with, you know, strangers, people you know, and people you may not know. So how you conduct yourself in the public arena, when we're talking about the unfamiliar, that can involve with cousins, uncles, aunts, grandfathers, grandparents, associates, people you are associated with, co-workers, people you don't hang with every day but every other day, you know what I'm saying, family members, that's long distance, but not long distance as in traveling, but that too, but they could be up the street, but it's not someone you're in the home with, like brother, sister, you know. If they, your brothers and sisters could fall in the 11th house if you don't live with them, if they live up the street or something, or into another, or at your grandparents' house. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of things could correlate with the unfamiliar because these things are, they're like you're familiar, but it's unfamiliar because you're not under it every day. So you see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's all things that consist of the 11th house when it comes to familiarity, the unfamiliar. And when it comes to the unknown, that's dealing with science, astrology, occult, mysticism, technology. Technology is your social ability, your ability to get on a computer, socialize via text message, phone, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they step in the unknown mechanism of life because these new things are being discovered with that 11th house every day. New things are being discovered with science, astrology, occult, mysticism, and technology every day. So even though things could be known in that area of life, things are still being discovered. So that's why it steps into the unknown. So the unknown and the unfamiliar is what helps conduct your public arena. You see what I'm saying? So all that energy is what built your 11th house. Saturn is coming and knock all that down. Boom! It knocks down all that shit. So what happens here? It's going to play out in your life as you having to reevaluate and restructure your personal, how you conduct yourself in the public arena, and you're going to have to restructure and recalculate how you deal with the unfamiliar and deal with the unknown. So you may be experiencing a situation where old ways of how you related to your family or associates or the location of your job or where you at or anything dealing with the unfamiliar, anytime right now your old ways of correlating and relating to this area of life is not going to work anymore. It's not going to be effective. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to be seen as negative by clinging on to these things. So that's getting tore down. So you have to rebuild your way of applying yourself with these things. Also dealing with the unknown, science, astrology, occult, mysticism, And technology, you're going to have to reevaluate how you utilize these things, restructure how you utilize the phone or texting or technology or social media, things of that nature, or science, and how you see a lot of these things. And mysticism and occult. Mysticism ain't nothing but communicating with the emotions and feelings, which is universal law, understanding how someone feel. You know, occultism ain't nothing but doing things behind closed doors. That's all. Everybody do things behind closed doors, so everybody practice occultism. So, you know, you're going to have to restructure and reevaluate how you had control of these things previously. Now, also, you see what I'm saying? Now, Saturn here is also going to force you to see the reality of how you could conduct yourself in the public arena. It's going to force you to see the reality of the unknown and the unfamiliar in your life. So you may have certain people, places, and things that's going on in your 11th house, like as far as unfamiliar and the unknown, that you may be clinging on to, and now you're going to see the reality of it. You're going to see that this family member or this associate or this friend, you're going to see the reality of them, that, oh, this wasn't right for you, or you shouldn't have been around them, or you're going to see the reality of the people you should be around, and things of that nature. Before this die, I don't want this to die. So also keep that in mind. Now, for the most part, let me put this charger in for 1 second. Sorry about that. Now, for the most part, that's the main theme. That's the main theme. Having to restructure and reevaluate how you conduct yourself in the public arena, or dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar, and the social awareness in some way, shape, or form. So that's the main theme. Now, you know, things may get crazy for certain reasons. Like you may have put something on social media or through technology or through a phone that burnt a bridge. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe a certain circumstance, a situation where you may have got too emotional with an associate or a family member, and that wasn't the way to connect, and things were supposed to be more free and more lighthearted, but you made it too serious, or a person, place, or thing in this area of life or a person became too serious with you, and it wasn't supposed to do that at this period of time. And dealing with the and conducting yourself in the public arena, it may be a certain circumstance or situation where you may have got embarrassed you may have got embarrassed in the public, or you may get embarrassed in the public, or maybe a situation where you're going to have to do something in the public, or restructure something that you have been doing publicly, or something that you may have been doing may get made public. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be very careful. Now, this is a sextile house to your first house. Now, this sextiles and trines are kind of negative when it comes into the house, but you have natural access to this energy, so I'm going to tell you it so you don't procrastinate. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you're going to witness natural opportunities to be able to take your personality, personal issues, and affairs, and be able to apply it effectively to how you conduct yourself in the public arena and dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar. So you ain't going to have no problem with seeing the opportunities to express your personality with these personal with how you conduct yourself in a public arena and dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar. So even if it get on people's nerves, or even if you just expressing your own personal issues or your own, you know what I'm saying, to these people or to these associates or to these strangers, you know what I'm saying, that's what you're able to do. You're gonna witness those opportunities. So it's on you whether you take them or not, and it's on you whether you do it in a positive or a negative nature. So keep that in mind. But a lot of times you may procrastinate anyway and may not even take the opportunity to personally express your personal issue to a stranger or to an associate, or apply your personality or personal affairs to social media, or to science, or to astrology, or even to a certain degree. You may not even feel the necessary need to express your personality in the public in any way, shape, or form. But you always got that sense of you can when it's needed, because you'll always be able to take that opportunity, because it's a sextile. You see what I'm saying? So try not to use this sextile for manipulative type things, and a lot of times you may not even use it anyway. You may procrastinate. So keep that in mind also. You may even feel like, man, there's not even no point for me to, you know, personally express any of my personal issues publicly or anything of that nature, where, you know, that's the sextile. But you're going to witness opportunities where you can, and your personality could be pushed out in the public in some type of way, or your personality could be received well, or you may be always around, or you may be always personally around your cousins, uncles, or aunts, or associates, or things you're associated with, and things of that nature. And these things may be part of your personal life at this moment, or your personal issues or affairs, or they may have always been, but for the most part, you know, it's that energy is being heavily impacted right now. Now, that's the main thing that's going on right now. So things being tore down in your 11th house, and you having to gain restructure. So for the most part, here's the tools that you have in order to rebuild this house, so you don't experience a storm before you got a motherfucking roof and everybody in the house will get wet, aka the beings inside you. So for the most part, we have to go towards the opposite and the square houses, because the houses, the squares and the opposites means and matters the most. Because for the most part in life, what are you here to do? Learn. You see what I'm saying? So you're here to learn and overcome obstacles. So what is learning and overcoming obstacles? Squares and oppositions. So let's start off with your opposition. Now, what is opposite to the 11th house? The 5th house. So opposite to the 11th house is the 5th house. So this, you're going to experience friction here first, because this is a tug of war match, and you're here to make this a give and receive match. But opposite also attracts. So what also was opposite also attracts is what also causes friction and spreads apart also. So for the most part, now when we talk about the 11th house, now the first thing you're going to experience as in a tug of war match, what is the friction? It's the 5th house. So you're going to find it kind of hard to incorporate the way you express yourself, or you're going to find it hard to kind of incorporate the things you're creatively into, and how you have fun, and how you enjoy yourself. It's going to be hard to incorporate these things with the public, with being in public. It's going to be hard to enjoy yourself in public. It's going to be hard to take what you're creatively into and apply it to the unknown and unfamiliar, or the public in some type of way. It's going to be hard to express yourself in the public in some type of way. This is the first kind of friction that's going on. You see what I'm saying? Because these are opposites. So you have to understand that now. These are the first tug of war match. It's hard to incorporate what you're creatively into and how you creatively express yourself in the public, or dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar, or like I said, the unknown, that's technology, which could be computer, and so it's hard for you to express your creative endeavors on social media at times also without you. So you know what I'm saying, you need to make you may be going through a lot of these situations. Now you need to make this a give and receive match other than a tug of war match. Now how you do that is, sometimes you may have to set aside your the way you conduct yourself in the public arena, and how you deal with the unknown and unfamiliar, for the sake of your creative endeavors, how you express yourself, the things you're entertained by, how you have fun, and how you enjoy yourself. You see what I'm saying? And then you may have to set that aside. You see what I'm saying? It may be too many things going on, like, that take your attention, that you're entertained by, that it kind of steer you away from your job or your location or what you're associated with and things of that nature, or how you receive money from the overall of the world and things of that nature in your business, and vice versa. You may need to set aside your creativity, your imagination, how you express yourself, the way you have fun, the way you entertain, and what you're entertained by, and what you're creatively into. You may have to set that aside for the sake of how you conduct yourself in the public arena, and you may have to set aside how you conduct yourself in the public arena and dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar for the sake of your creative endeavors, and for the sake of how you express yourself, and for the sake of how you have fun and enjoy yourself, and your 3 forms of entertainment. But try not to go too far down that route. Try not to go too far down the route of setting aside your how you conduct yourself in the public arena and dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar, because that's what caused the friction in the first place, because that's where Saturn is at. So wherever Saturn is at, that's what caused the friction in the first place. So the more you dive too far into that, and you try to set that apart from your dreams, you know what I'm saying, it's not, and your creativity and how you express yourself, it's not going to work. So you know, you need to align these two, make this a give and receive match other than a tug of war match, you know what I'm saying, by setting aside that at times, but also incorporating these things, you know what I'm saying, and incorporating your creativity, how you enjoy yourself, how you have fun, what you're entertained by, you know what I'm saying, what you're creatively into, and creatively expressing yourself within the public, or creatively expressing yourself amongst the unknown and unfamiliar. You never know what can happen, you know what I'm saying. That's real center stageness right there. You may feel vulnerable and be like, nah, I don't want to do this right here, right now, when that might be the right time. You know what I'm saying? You may need to start uploading what you could creatively do on the internet. You might need to start doing that. Now, when let's get to your squares. Now, your squares is your learning processes also. So these are your tools also. So this is going to correlate with your square houses. Now, what is your square houses? Now, the square houses to the 11th house will be the 2nd and the 8th. So what happens here is, let's start with the 8th. What is the 8th house? The 8th house is the house, the behind the scenes realm, the house you are in the dark about. So the things you are in the dark about, these things intrigue you. They're like taboo. They make your brain step into the mechanism of wanting to investigate, wanting to do research, wanting to wanting to transform, wanting to do wanting to do things in the dark, in the behind the scenes. That's also dealing with occult and mysticism. So, and this is what all motivates a person also, not just what they're saying and their actions, but what's motivating a person. So that could be life, death, sex, greed, jealousy, motivation, transformation, power, control, desire, willpower. You know what I'm saying? All these things is what motivate a person. These are the things that's in the dark. You know what I'm saying? So all things that's hidden and secrecy, and that's all. These are things of the 8th house, and having a fixated way of having emotions and feelings amongst certain things that you're going through. So this is the mystic house, the behind the scenes house, the things you are in the dark about, and other people are in the dark about you. So right here, you need to learn how to apply these things to the public in certain type of ways. So you probably thinking like, how do I do that? How do I apply something unknown and unseen to the public? Here's why. What is the 8th house? 8th house, alternative motives. Things is in the dark. Seeing the alternative motives behind things. So if the 11th house represents the unfamiliar as far as your associates, family, you see what I'm saying, things of that nature, then what does that tell you? That tells you to start trying to understand the dark aspects of those areas. Start trying to understand the alternative motives of the unknown and the unfamiliar, and how you conduct yourself in the public arena. Start to see the motivation behind these people, places, and things, and these gadgets and these tools that we have here to use, and technology, and how you conduct yourself in the public arena. Start adding mysticism to that. Start seeing things from a behind the scenes realm, so you can start feeling a vibe, and not just being in people's faces or going to certain locations based upon what's outside of you. You'll be able to feel the vibe and know if you're supposed to be doing that or not. Pisces ascendant. You see what I'm saying? So with Saturn going into Capricorn, you need to understand that. Now, also with the 8th house, you need to learn how to apply some sense of research, some sense of discovery. So start to discover things, even if you gotta make fake pages, fake Facebook pages, or fake pages on social sites or whatever like that, just so you can learn what's going on, what's really going on with the unknown and unfamiliar stages in your life, which is, the unfamiliar. That's the people, places, and things. That's associates, family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, people you are associated with, organizations, the location of your job, your co-workers, all these things. You know what I'm saying? Start to see the deep down, what motivates them, what's their intentions, what's the deep desires, what's the passion, and what's your alternative motives, what's your intentions for you to be in these areas, aka a public arena. Anytime you're somewhere away from home, you're in a public arena. You're in a different location. You're in the 11th house. So what is your deep intents? What is your deep meanings and reasons to being in these areas? Are you really should you really be there? Or you have no purpose being there, and you're just there based upon a desire or something like that. You see what I'm saying? You need to understand these things. These things is going to help you build your house a lot faster, so you don't experience no storm before you have a goddamn roof. And the more you're not applying this energy, the more you're going to keep experiencing stumbling and falling and woos and woes of the world. Now, for the most part, when we want to talk about the other square. Now, the other square going to be the second house. You see what I'm saying? Now, the second house. What is the second house? The house of values, which you have, the things that you value. That could be a person, place, or thing. As long as it step into the area of life of the brain that make you feel like I value this person, place, or thing, is going to be in your second house. Also, is what you have to offer to the world. Whether that's a person, place, or thing externally or internally. What you have to offer to the world could be externally or internally. Externally could be a person, place, or thing that could get you from point A to point B, and internally could be a gift, a talent, a trade, something you know how to do, an ability, a talent, or whatever like that, and something you could bring out. And the second house is also how one plants seeds in life, and how one developed their self-esteem. So for the most part, you have now from the second house, this is a square. This is a square to the 11th house. So you need to learn how to apply second house attributes to the 11th house. So for the most part, you may be naive or being stubborn to the fact that there may be things going on in your public life, or dealing with the unknown and unfamiliar, and you may not be trying to value these things, or you may not look at these things as something to value, or you may look at these things as this ain't something you have to offer to the world, and you don't know that there might be a person, place, or thing that in that area of life in your 11th house, that if you was just to value it and feel like you had that to offer to the world, you actually can succeed, and they will be able to succeed. And this is also like a placement of receiving gains from the collective. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of like how business could prosper. You know, second house is planting a seed, planting the idea for a business. The 11th house is receiving the gains and the prosperity from that business. You know what I'm saying? Not just the status of it like the 10th house. So, you know, you need to learn how to incorporate what you value and what you have to offer to the world to your public, to how you conduct yourself in the public arena. Or you need to learn how to take what you value and what you have to offer to the world, or the seeds that you plant, and apply them to the unknown and unfamiliar. You know what I'm saying? Take what you value or what you have to offer to the world and apply it to, you know, a family member or an associate or an organization you're a part of, or in the public in some type of way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? Or dealing with the unknown, as far as science, astrology, occult, mysticism, and technology. You know what I'm saying? Put it on social media and broadcast it in some type of way, or make it known in the public of what you have to offer to the world. Don't doubt these things and things of that nature, because these are the areas of life that you're going to pick up that show you what you need to be doing now, and show you that whatever you was doing are old ways, and these ways may not work anymore. See what I'm saying? So those are your learning processes. These are your tools, and this is the main theme for Pisces Ascendant by Capricorn, by Saturn going in Capricorn. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn air.